Guys, it is Wednesday off-centered. I'm actually going to be able to talk a little bit this week. I'm excited. My buddy Brad is on a business trip, which probably means he's meditating out in the desert with 35 other guys, and he probably paid $5,000 to go and do that, to be part of some sort of like retreat or something. But anyway, thank you very much for joining me here tonight. I appreciate you stopping in, even though I don't have Brad with me to go back and forth with, but I think it'll still be fun. We'll just talk kind of through some stuff, some current events. We'll go through the chat. We'll kind of let chat, dictate, a lot of it, of course. But I don't really do a lot of solo streams, not very much at all. So this is kind of fun for me. I'm glad to, actually, it's kind of a nice little change up. Maybe I'll do some solo streams just anyway, on top of the Wednesday night off-centered show. So let's go ahead and just say hello to a few people here. Joseph Gomez, Brad on that Hinge date, I guess. Something like that. Something. AJ from Japan. Good to see you, man. Yep. Yeah, exactly. Who knows where Brad is? Who knows? What's up, Michael Ham? Good to see you, man. I'm hoping to see you at a show sometime soon, wherever that may be. Hopefully it's not the National next year. Hopefully it's in Tampa or somewhere else. Ryan, good to see you, man. Do you think the supply chain issues will affect the values of current sets at all? I seem to remember something similar happening with the 84 Donruss set. Yeah, so are you kind of getting at maybe something will be short printed because of supply chain issues? I did see that Upper Deck, I talked about it in my video today, Upper Deck had to push back Hockey Card Series 1 through to December because of some sort of supply chain issue. And then they've also canceled a couple of other sets, I believe. And I'm not on top of the Upper Deck hockey new stuff at all. So this is just something I saw on Sports Collectors Daily. But yeah, that'll be kind of interesting. Does it mean that they are not able to kind of print, as much as they wanted to, or does it just mean a delayed release or a canceled release? That's a really good question. Will they print less maybe because they can only print out so much? I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see on that. Let me know if you have any particular thoughts or anybody else in the chat does. Brian Sherlin, good to see you. Let's see, who else do we have here? Mike C, Brett S, Corey, what's going on? Let's go Braves. Yeah, so I just caught the score last night. I thought the Braves were going to win, and then I think the Dodgers ended up pulling that out last night. Unfortunately, because you're a Braves fan, I'm sorry for you, Corey. There, I'm not a baseball fan really in general, but I thought the Braves were going to just smoke the Dodgers, and it was an interesting game. Talatiga, good to see you. Iconic trading cards. Yeah. Troy, Bradless. I know, no Brad tonight. Bradley Helston. I don't know if this is a trolling comment. You kind of come in sometimes, and I'm not sure if you're trolling me or being serious, but I think the Saints are actually going to be okay. We've got a bunch of injuries, a boatload of injuries that we're working through. I even saw that I don't think Michael Thomas is going to be back this week, even after with the bye and everything. We need to get Michael Thomas back. I think we'll have Traquan Smith. We'll get some of our defensive guys back, Davenport and some of these other guys getting healthy. So I think that we're going to be okay. I mean, it's weird. I'm a little bit nervous. It's going to sound strange, but Russell Wilson is going to be out for the Seahawks, and we play the Seahawks on Monday night. For whatever reason, historically, we have not played well against backup QBs. You would think that we would rather see a backup QB than Russell Wilson, but for whatever reason, we just don't show up the same way. I don't know. Like, we struggle. A lot of times these backup QBs end up looking like, Joe Montana. Our defense just can't figure out what's going on, but we'll see. Legato Blue Summers. No Brad equals a centered show. I like how that is. Yeah, we're a little bit more centered this week. Exactly. How does PSA decide what player sets go into the set registry? Good question for maybe more of the long time. If there's long time hobbyists, actually, Ryan McClanahan, maybe you've got an answer for this. I'm not certain on this particular question, Chase. What are my thoughts on hockey cards? I really like the older stuff. I don't own any hockey cards. I did own a Wayne Gretzky rookie and an SGC 6 2 years ago. I ended up selling it kind of during that wave. I wish I had held on to it just because, it was a Gretzky rookie. I like the older stuff. I'm not as much into any of the newer stuff. And then, junk wax era, I stay away from, and that's really for every sport. But I like the 80s, like the Lemieux rookie and the Gretzky rookies, and that sort of thing. Of course, Gretzky is 79, 79, 80. But anyway, my point is I like some of that older stuff. I think it's cool. Hey, Steven. Yeah, we don't have Brad tonight, unfortunately / fortunately, however you want to look at that. All right. Who else do we have to say hi to? Mark Lowry. Good to see you. Ernie Waters. Old football wax worth a lot. I'll try to answer you. Our old wax football worth a lot? Please answer. I think that all kind of depends, man. It depends. If you've got sealed, old vintage football that's still, in the case, then I'm sure it probably carries a nice premium there. But that's really all of that stuff. If you have any vintage stuff that is, that is sealed or that has not been opened in particular, that stuff is wanted for sure. I saw some really nice kind of vintage wax at these last couple shows that I went to, and it was pricey. Let's just say it was pricey. Mark Ford, good to see you. Yeah, Ryan, I'm not sure on that either. If we have any sort of folks in the chat that have that answer about the registry, I'd like to hear it. Mr. Dwayne 79, good to see you, man. All right, so I wrote down a few topics just so I wasn't completely flying blind, and of course, I want to get some feedback from the chat. Definitely want to hear some feedback from you all. Oh wait, iconic trading cards. Is that a framed restraining order on the wall behind you? It might be. It might be. I'll keep that a secret. It might very well be. No, it's an old football picture. What does it say on it? It's kind of odd, really. It's a picture that's just explaining like what's on a football helmet and what's on a football. It's like it says face mask. I don't know. I think that my wife picked it up at maybe like a thrift store or something like that. But I probably need a little bit more going on back here, especially compared to the other walls in the room. All right, so I've got a few topics I'm going to throw out there, and you guys come back at me with your thoughts, and we're going to kind of pull from the chat like usual. Fake cards. We keep talking about this in videos, and I've seen it kind of just across YouTube in general, Instagram. It's definitely been on people's minds. It's become more and more on my radar just because I'm just hearing a lot more about it. Of course, you kind of had stuff that would pop up here or there, but now it's like, man, I feel like I'm talking about it on a weekly basis as a channel that kind of talks newsy type stuff. Whether it be a card that's in a BGS case, an HGA case, PSA case, or whatever it is, it just seems like, there's more and more of this stuff. And you get kind of like both extremes with it. You get both extremes where it's like, is it a widespread thing? Is it a widespread thing where you've got, there's fake cards everywhere? And every card is fake, or is it a very small percentage of cards? And I think that's a thing that I think we all kind of wonder, but it's definitely something to keep in mind when buying cards, because it's always a risk, I think, for anybody. So anyway, I thought that was just something that was interesting to seeing more and more about just fake cards, fake slabs, all that stuff. There's so much money in this market that you're going to see all the weird stuff. Troy, what the heck? Coming in with a super chat. $50? Are you kidding me? Geez, that is the first super chat. This is the first week I've turned on super chat. So thank you very much, man. That's really awesome. Troy's always he's always the man. He's always there to give me, even when I might have kind of a video that's like maybe it could have been better or whatever. Troy always comes in with like, hey, thanks for the video. Good stuff. And there are times too where, there's some videos that come out where I'm like, man, I think that was a good one. And then there's others where it's like, I kind of sped through it. I wish maybe I had hit on a couple of points that I missed, just trying to get through it. There's only so much time in the day. So I wish that I could do this full time where I could make kind of exactly the video I want to make every time, but it doesn't always work out like that. So, but Troy is always a kind of a positive force, giving me positive feedback. So thanks, man. I really appreciate that. Global sports card investor Alex, good to see you, man, from down under. What is it? 12 hours difference. So it's morning time for you, I think, over there. Good for you, man. I hope that you are doing well. I know that it seems like there are a lot of card collectors in Australia, and it's just like, I don't know if you guys have this. Well, I know you don't have the same sorts of outlets that we do here as far as card shows and grading and all the rest of it. So good for you for sticking with it. We have so many options, in Australia, just not as many from what I've heard anyway. Education can combat fakes and fraud, but you have to do your homework like you would with your financial portfolio. The thing that makes me really nervous, though, Ryan, is I feel like there's new cards added to this list all the time. So, yes, I agree. And I actually asked, there was somebody on Twitter, because I think Breakout Cards, another channel that look, Ryan at Breakout Cards. He looks into this all the time. He does videos on what to look for certain vintage cards. A lot of stuff that you would probably talk about too, Ryan. Other Ryan, two Ryans, but I feel like there's new cards popping up, or just ones that maybe the hobbyists that have been doing this for 10, 20, 30 years are aware of, but someone that's gotten in 6 months ago, 12 months ago, they would have no idea. Like there was one, Card Porn had it on IG yesterday, and it was a late 90s Jordan insert card, a metal card. And, I'm looking at the card, and look, I'm not a 90s insert basketball expert by any stretch, but I didn't look at that card and think like, yeah, that's an obvious fake, and look, it made it into a BGS holder and then ended up making it into an HGA holder. So it's not just, the person just looking at it on a screen. It's actually someone looking at it up close as well. So that's the stuff that concerns me a little bit, to where it's like, the hobby's got to be talking, because I think there's going to be more of this stuff popping up. And it's going to be really difficult to catch it all in real time. So, and I don't know, what I was asking on Twitter is there kind of a master list? Does everybody have, some sort of a master list, that or something that we could work off of? Maybe it's like a shared Google Doc or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but let's put something together. I don't know. But I think that would be really, really helpful. All right. I saw a couple of questions here. Any new pickups, Dustin? I did just pick up. This is actually a funny story. Funny to me anyway. So I picked this up. I put it on my IG. If you're not following me on IG, it's the Personal Finance Dad on IG. This is the 2013 White Hot Stars insert, and it's first year select football. It's not numbered, but the card is just a beautiful looking card. I really like the White Hot Stars, and then there's also Red Hot Stars as well in this set. And I just like, first year select. For me, this is just a long-term hold. This is like, to me, so here's where my brain is, and I've talked about this on my channel. This could be completely wrong, guys. So buy what you want. This is always kind of the, buy what you want story, of course. But I think I am kind of assuming, I'm kind of making the speculation. I'm specking on the fact that Tom Brady inserts, not all of them, in 10, 15, 20 years are going to be looked at in a similar capacity to some of these Jordan inserts, kind of these GOAT inserts that we're seeing like late 90s, early 2000s. Now, is this going to be PMG money one day? I don't think so. No, the PMG is numbered out of 10? It's extremely, extremely rare insert. And there's a lot of inserts out there. But I just like the downside protection. It didn't break the bank. And actually what's funny about this is so I was on a group text with me, Brad, and Andy, Fantasy Football Quest YouTube channel. Great channel, great guy. And I bought the Red Hot Stars card of this exact same thing. And he was like, "Oh man, I just found a raw copy of the White Hot Stars on eBay. And it looks like it's in pretty good condition." I was like, "Oh, well, that's cool." But I'm thinking like, all right, you bought a raw copy on eBay. Like, I don't buy raw to grade, because I just don't trust myself to be able to see it on eBay and think like, okay, I think that'll get a 10. Well, this is the card that Andy bought raw like 9 months ago or 6 months ago or whatever, sent it in SGC, got it back. I had no idea. And actually the funny thing is I was thinking about texting him. I was like, man, I should reach out to Andy and see if he still has this card, because I wanted it. I wanted the card, but I was like, he probably already sold it. That was the one he had for sale. I bought Andy's copy. So, it's like, but dang it. If I had just thought, if I had just texted him, just reached out and said like, hey, you still got that Brady, could have saved us a few bucks, eBay fees and the rest of it. But anyway, that's my only pickup from this week. I do have a card coming that is completely different than anything that I own. It is a non-sports card. I'm not going to talk about it in tonight's live, but I will talk about it next week. I assume that I'll have it in hand next week for Off-Centered, and we'll talk about it then. And I'll kind of explain the rationale and everything. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of I would say that the majority of everything I'm buying, it's Hall of Fame auto patch stuff like I've showed you. I mean, it's all of the same sort of stuff that we've talked about before. Stuff that looks cool, and and then price point is everything for me too. So if I feel like rolling with FD, what's up, man? And Sports Card Anonymous, that's awesome. Sports Cards Anonymous, good to see you guys. Dakota, thanks for joining. So yeah, I pick up a lot of kind of the Hall of Fame auto patch stuff, and I picked up vintage football cards. I got an autogram rookie a couple years ago and a PSA 6. I'm always looking for, and really it's about that price point. Is it good value? And the tough part is like, Tom Brady cards, like, yeah, I picked these up here and there, but the reality is when I'm looking for those, they're not inexpensive. Tom Brady stuff is not inexpensive. I'm sure a lot of you know that if you're looking into the same cards. I'll go on there and I'm scrolling because a lot of these people, a lot of the gals out there have it at $1,000 best offer, $800 best offer. And I'm looking for kind of those, those opportunities where they're not quite, as, look, I'll pay $1,000, but it needs to be something that's pretty amazing for $1,000. So that's kind of where my head is currently. But you guys know I'm all over the place. I do kind of bounce around. I do, part of me is like, man, I wish I had speculated on some Jordan Poole rookie cards after watching Warriors, Lakers last night. That's more of like what my hobby buddies like Neo and Flipping Steve and those guys, they're all over the prospects, and they do really well with it because they follow who's going to be starting, who's not starting, who's injured, who's, and they're great at that. I am not as good at that. So I just kind of stick with, with that sort of stuff. So those have been my pickups, but not as much recently. I'm saving up for some stuff. So I'm trying to maybe get into a couple of bigger things. And then also we've had some other priorities going on. We had some like house stuff that cost some money. So, we'll see. I'll be back in the game, before we know it, but I'm still picking up stuff here and there. I saw a question. Where did it go? I think someone had asked if this was a Dorset auto. Yeah, and it's a Broncos one. It says 200 on the sticker. I got this at a show and actually worked it down to 160. Actually, it was at the Raleigh show, and Flipping Steve was with me, and we bought a bunch of cards from the same dealer. We kind of threw them all together and made a deal. So I got this one for 160. Kind of a little bit more rare because it is that Broncos patch, and it's a really kind of a sweet patch. So for the right kind of collector, this is a card that maybe down the line I wouldn't mind moving because I'm not a huge Dorset Broncos fan. I just thought it was a cool card at a good value. And again, it's you can see it. It's a true gem 9.5s, which is tough on these cards. This is one of those thick cards, so this is not an easy braid. This is like they come out of the pack dinged up. And this one is actually really, really nice. So kind of that combination of, it's graded, it's true gem, it's a thicker card, it's numbered, it's a Hall of Famer, it's a, triple colored, 3-colored patch, all of the above. I just thought it was a cool one. All right, let's get down here. There was a few other things too. Sorry, guys, I'm going to be kind of slow talking and looking through the chat at the same time. Yeah, asked if it was TD. Oh, okay, you thought it was Terrell Davis. Yeah, Terrell Davis would be a cool pickup too. Yeah, but yeah, it's Tony Dorsett. Tony Dorsett. Dorsett is such a sweet. Yeah, that was another thing that was kind of interesting. Another thing too, when I'm buying autos, I go for a nice looking auto. It's the aesthetics of that card too. When someone just kind of scribbles like a little, a couple circles, and it's like, oh, it's signed by blah, blah, blah. I'm kind of like, well, it's kind of lame though. I'd like for it to be a decent looking auto. Like some of the guys like, Willie Mays has a cool auto. Like a lot of autos look good. So you can be kind of picky, I feel like, with Hall of Fame auto cards. There's good ones out there. New York Yanks fan 7, shameless plug, Silver Jackify versus Okay. You guys are doing top 40 graded sports cards collection. Smackdown, nothing but fire. Yeah, I love Silver Jackify's channel as well. He's a good dude. I saw him at the National. I've had him on my show too. We had a live 6 months ago or so. Maybe it's been longer now, but I love that guy's a good dude and has some really, really nice vintage baseball, especially. So yeah, definitely check that out. That's going to be on Silver Jackify's channel on Friday night. What vintage cards, non-ultra modern cards, are you excited about? Do you try to identify potential future Hall of Famers, or stick with the greats? So, a lot of my buying behavior recently, I would say, really over the last like 6 to 9 months, the GOAT that I've been really serious on is Tom Brady. Yeah, if we're just talking about like buying GOATs, I haven't been buying a lot of, LeBron James, and I haven't been buying a lot of Jordan stuff. There's a bunch of Jordan cards that I do like, but you know what kind of spooks me a little bit? It doesn't spook me, but Gem Rate comes back with like the PSA submissions that are coming back. The PSA cards are coming back, and they label out kind of which players are getting the most cards graded. And Michael Jordan is always number one or number two on that list. Michael Jordan has so many graded cards coming back. So part of me is kind of like, for Jordan, I might wait a little bit on him for particular cards that I want. I think I'm going to be a little bit more picky, and also just kind of wait it out, because the stuff that I want is really expensive for him. And then, it's just kind of like, I feel like there's always going to be opportunities in Jordan stuff, whether it be inserts or second year, third year. I want one of his sticker rookies, the 86 Fleer sticker rookie, in a lower grade, maybe a 6 or a 7 or something like that. I've been eyeballing those, but that's not a super rare card. You can find, they're out there, you can find them, so I'm not in a huge hurry to get that card. I will have it, but I'm patient. I'm going to stay patient on that one. I want to see what this backlog looks like, in the next year, and really kind of identify. And so with a lot of the buys now, I'm looking at kind of, it's numbered, if we're talking about Tom Brady in particular, Tom Brady inserts that are numbered out of 99 or 49 or whatever. And if I just think aesthetically it looks cool, maybe it's got some long-term relevance, I'll take some shots. I'll bid on those. And I'm not buying a lot of them. I'm bidding and I'm losing. I'm losing a lot of the auctions, but if I can snag something at a lower price than I expected, then great. But for me, because I'm going to hold those, the plan anyway is to hold those for an extended period. We're talking, 10, 50, 20 plus years, and just see what happens. It's kind of an experiment of what are those going to look like down the road? What happens if there's no more Prism? What happens if Fanatics takes over, they stop making that stuff, and, 15, 20 years down the road, there's a big resurgence of, nostalgia around Prism products. There is kind of an assumption that maybe that'll get picked up, or, someone will buy out that property and keep on making Prism. Maybe not. Maybe they won't, So, but vintage cards that excite me, a lot of it's football and basketball stuff, and there's some baseball stuff too. But man, there's so much that excites me, Carlos. That's kind of the problem right now for me. Honestly, it's more of like what doesn't excite me over what does. That's kind of the problem. That's the problem that I'm having. Yeah. He has a monster. I know I have, what I saw on his channel too. He's got graded video games as well that I also collect, Chris. And I saw he's got some nice stuff there too. Yeah, I'll check out both of those. I'm going to be there on Friday night, or at least watch the replay of that. That's going to be good. All right, let's see what else we've got here in the chat. Topps Now and Panini Instant AJ Rose. I have not had a chance to look at them. I don't know much about them, so not a knock at all on it. I just haven't had a chance to really dig into it. Just so much. I'm just spread in so many different directions with what I'm looking at. I haven't gotten to it. A lot of the new guys have horrible autos. Yeah, it just kind of seems like, they're just like, let's get this over with, let's get this over with, which is fine. I mean, look, they're busy and everything else. I wonder if that will change with now, not now, but in a few years when Fanatics takes over and these players, they've got ownership as well. The players associations have ownership on this stuff. Are they going to care more about quality control and that sort of stuff because it's affecting their pockets? We'll have to see. Obviously, that's kind of a spec topic for sure. All right, let's keep on going. Jeremy, what's going on, buddy? It's good to see you. I think so. I don't know. I might be speaking out of turn here, but I think that Brad said that Jeremy is going to be coming on off centered on the 3rd. I believe I've got that right. Anyway, the point is Jeremy is coming on as a guest on Off Centered coming up here in the next few weeks. So I'm excited to have him again. One of my hobby friends. Great show, Sports Cards Live. If you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. He interviews kind of the who's who of industry folks and content creators and everybody else. And just a good overall guy and a great show. So check out Sports Cards Live if you have not already. I'm looking at getting consolidating most of my cards players into 1 or 2 players. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah, I mean, that strategy, it is kind of like I'm kind of in a similar boat to where I'm looking around at like, what's the stuff that I've got that I don't love that maybe I bought a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago that I've got that it's like, do I love stuff more than that stuff that I bought at the time? I've been doing more of that sort of thing. So, not necessarily consolidating the stuff I've been buying over the last year out of that stuff, but previous to that, and especially smaller stuff, if I've got $10, $15, $20 cards, I'm thinking about that. Like maybe I should be moving out of some of that stuff and then just getting into more of the stuff that I like. It's like, if it doesn't serve me, then I'm just going to kind of move on from it or look to see if it makes sense. All right, let's see what else. Fanatics is a new empire. Makes it interesting with other companies are already getting ready to stay relevant. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, Leaf does their thing. Leaf is, from what I know, Leaf is doing amazingly well. So I mean, I don't think that Brian Gray is struggling. I think that Leaf is doing really well, and I kind of wonder, if Panini and Topps are not bought up, if they just stay the way they are, they still have other businesses. They've got candy and they've got stickers in Europe and all the other things that there's a lot of moving parts with those companies outside of just, these particular licenses. But do they just sell non-licensed stuff? Because non-licensed stuff still does sell. It's not as if those companies, are just going to go out of business. I mean, they will still, people are going to want to buy Topps, I think, just because of the Topps name, the Panini, even though they haven't been around, in that basketball, football card world, with Prism and everything else. I still think that they would do fine if they can produce great looking cards, and do kind of a similar thing that what Leaf does. I think they would probably do great, so I think that'll be really interesting to watch, just kind of see what's going on there. Did we get another super chat? I don't know how to. Dex Flow, what's going on, buddy? Dex is awesome. Dex has actually sent me some really cool care packages, just an overall good guy and somebody that I can go to when I've got questions about all sorts of different collectibles as well. So thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Again, this is the first week of super chats. So don't feel obligated to do any of that. It's just there because I'd gotten a bunch of requests for it. And so there it is, but no big deal at all. All right, Carlos, a lot of those old timers took their time signing. I thought about goats, future goats. Yeah. Well, yeah. Always trying to estimate future goats. That's, oh, okay. Dex Flow is driving. Yeah. Be careful. Hey, be careful if you're driving. Yeah, well, I guess that's part of the fun of it too. That's part of the fun of it is you're trying to guess kind of that future. Who's the next face? Who's going to be the next guy? Who's taking over for LeBron James, or will anybody take over? Will there be some time before there is kind of that next mega superstar? I know Luka and Giannis are kind of the talk of, kind of the taking the reins after LeBron, but who knows? Those guys might not be. I mean, I remember, so what was that documentary? And I've talked about it on this channel a few different times, but I showed it on one of my videos. I found it on YouTube, and it was a home video documentary that was done by like a senior for their senior project. And it was really great because basically this guy was going around card shows and card shops with his video camera, like the old school video camera, 1990. And it was hilarious because all these dealers were talking about how all these young people, they just want that Don Mattingly rookie, that 84 Topps Don Mattingly rookie. They don't care about the greats, the Mickey Mantles and the Willie Mays stuff. And so it was similar conversation of like, back then Don Mattingly was the next Mickey Mantle. Like he was that next, Don Mattingly was huge back then, and his cards were huge. So it's kind of hilarious, I mean, like it's not a new thing. I think there's people that are like, oh, this is all new conversation, and it's really not. It goes back generations, which is pretty funny. You definitely have kind of, obviously different things going on. There's a million different parallels and things that are different, but yeah. So it's different times, but it's all this. But a lot of the arguments are the same. Citizen to a citizen, appreciate that, man. Yeah, one day we're working towards it. We're working towards it, with or without Brad. With or without Brad. I'm joking. I'm missing Brad this week. I usually get to talk with him, a few times a week, and he's just hilarious. Go back and forth on, just card stuff, but also just life stuff. So it'll be good to catch up with him over the next couple of weeks when he gets back from whatever work he's doing. Makes me a little nervous. It probably is, in reality, it probably was a hinge date that went badly, and he's fell into kind of a little bit of a, he's down on himself. He's probably just in that apartment in LA, just kind of staring at the wall and just wondering, what went wrong? What went wrong when I took her to, Taco Bell and I ordered for her? I was assertive. I ordered her those bean burritos, and what could have gone wrong? I mean, I think that there's a lot of, Brad just kind of looking at himself and just trying to figure out, like, how are we getting to that next level? Yeah, Brad, Brad's, God, it would be so great if my wife and I have been watching, oh my gosh, what is the name of the show? It's basically like So I Married a Stranger. It's like I Married a Stranger or something, but essentially it's literally like people marrying a stranger, and they're having to, basically it's like they show up at their wedding and they're like, hi, nice to meet you. We're married now. And the majority of them don't work out. I would do anything to see Brad on that show. I wish they would offer him $1 million to go on and be a contestant or whatever on that show, just to see all the goofiness. It would be fantastic. But yeah, Carlos, you're probably not wrong. He probably is on a toilet somewhere, wherever he is. In Europe, you actually have to pay to use public bathrooms. When my wife is Italian, when we go to Italy to visit family and we go downtown, it's not like you just run to the restroom. You actually have to have change with you. You have to have money on you to use the public bathroom. I don't know how he would do over there. There's a lot of concerns with Brad. Yeah, Brad. Yeah, exactly. Brad's fasted for 3 days so he can take part in the Food Network, the Halloween Bake Off, all the cupcakes. They make the cupcakes and he eats them in the background because he's not making cupcakes. That guy's not a baker. No, he can probably make a mean green smoothie, but that guy's not doing any baking. But I can't talk smack because I don't do the baking either. Before this, my older kids and I were watching Squid Games. I don't know if you've seen that on Netflix. Kind of a fun little thriller. If you haven't seen that show, if you're into thrillers, it's kind of it's like 8 or 9 episodes or something like that. But it's interesting. It's very interesting. Maybe Brad is in Squid Games. Maybe that's the business that he had to go take care of. Anyhow, who watched basketball open up? Who watched it? Who was excited about it? Were you kind of, Lakers Warriors? Were you surprised the Warriors without Clay kind of took it to the Lakers? To be honest, I was a little bit surprised. And I actually did pick, I've got the Warriors as kind of like dark horse team in the West. Not that they're that much of a dark horse. They've got a great team, but they don't have Clay. And I feel like having both Splash Brothers is a big deal. They need both of them. But last night, they really looked pretty good. And the Lakers, and honestly, look, they've got a bunch of new guys on the team. I think the big question with them is, are they going to gel in time to win the championship? You see, like, you've got Carmelo Anthony on that team. You've got Russell Westbrook's on that team now. You've got like every superstar in the league from the last 20 years, that's a vet is now on that team. And it's like, can they figure out how to play together? Does it even matter? Will LeBron just kind of take over and do his thing? I don't know. But what did you guys think? Warriors, Lakers, and then were you surprised that Giannis and the Bucks took it to the Nets? It kind of made you think like, are those teams, again, one game of the season, right? One game, opening game, but you kind of wonder, like, are those teams done? Like these old, like, the KDs of the world and the LeBrons, like they're starting to get up there in age to where, like, is this where we start to see a little bit of a slide here? Like, when does the elite play slow down, for these guys? And I, like, after last night, I'm like, is it now? Is it this season? Because none of those guys looked amazing. KD didn't. LeBron had some nice plays, but the Lakers as a whole, I was just surprised to see them win in LA on opening night. And Dex, sorry, man, I know that you're a Lakers fan, so I'm not trying to talk smack about your Lakers, but I just thought that I was just a little surprised about it. The Nets aren't the group of villains that they think that they are. Yeah, and Kyrie Irving he's not playing. I think that's big, obviously. I think having Kyrie would make a big difference. It's like, is that guy going to play basketball again? Like, I feel like we've been talking more about Kyrie off the court than him doing anything on the court for how long? Years? 2 years? I mean, I don't get it. I wouldn't be shocked if, like, he just doesn't play anymore. Like, he's just like, you know what? I'm done playing. I don't know. I don't get it. LeBron and AD are the only ones allowed to shoot. Well, I think that was one thing that, yeah, I think with Russell Westbrook, it's going to be like him just trying to figure out his role on that team. Is he going to be the guy that takes over certain games, or is he just kind of in the background, and being kind of like a role player? He's just trying to figure it out. You can tell that it's probably going to take them a little while to gel for sure. If they ever do, honestly, they've got so many scorers on that team. There's only one guy that can shoot the ball, each time down the floor. So we will see. Yeah. Remember when they played defense in the NBA, or when they were allowed to play defense? Do you remember when technical fouls involved, like, someone getting punched in the face in the NBA? Now it's like you look at the ref the wrong way. You look at someone the wrong way, and it's a tech. I mean, it's totally different. It's very, very different than the way that it used to be. So I don't know. Is it that guys don't play defense, or they're not really allowed to play defense? I kind of wonder that. Like, is there more of a focus on scoring just because the league has changed, to where they just maybe they want it to just be offensive fireworks all the time. I don't know. Kind of like in the NFL, where it's like, defenses have been, it's protect the quarterback now. Defenses don't hit the same way that they used to, and they're not really allowed to. So it's changed football for sure, probably for the better, just because, less concussions, less head injuries, that sort of thing. I'm definitely for that, but definitely a different league. Tom Brady would not be playing in the league if it was 1985 and he was 44 years old. He would actually have retired probably 5 years, 10 years prior. Yeah, the Denver Nuggets, they're on tonight, I believe. Well, who are they playing? It's the Nuggets, and I had it and I forgot. They're playing a pretty good team too, I believe, and I'm totally drawing a blank. I am drawing a blank. I hope that Jamal Murray comes back, because I do have Jamal Murray rookie cards, but also because I like the Nuggets and I'd like to see them do well. I'm always kind of pulling for these young teams. I like that the Suns, kind of made their run last year. I thought it was cool just to see somebody different in the West coming out, and so I wouldn't mind seeing, kind of these younger teams make some headway. Did you see Topps is making Finest Basketball? Posted a dirt gold SIG on their IG today. Looks like they're going to try Leafs mentality to cards. Yeah, and that would not be surprising at all, really. Especially considering, the hobby, it's not like, yes, there are people that are like, I'm not buying non-licensed cards, but more and more people, it seems like, are coming around to non-licensed cards. And this is more on the baseball card side, because I don't collect baseball cards much at all, very, very little. But the baseball card friends that I have, they have started to talk more about, you know what? I just like Panini's products. I think they look great, and I know that they're unlicensed, but I don't mind that. I'm gonna buy them anyway. So that will be very interesting. You're right, Mike. I mean, I don't know if that's going to be like a thing, moving forward, but that'll be kind of interesting to watch for sure. Everyone wants the Mavs to be good because Luka is the young guy. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you do see that. People are kind of pulling for Luka. And he's what is he, 21? Maybe he's 22 now. I think that's the same for a lot of these guys. Trae Young is another guy too. I mean, they play each other tomorrow night. I'll be watching that game, Luka versus Trae, to open the season. That's fantastic. But yeah, I think there's a lot of people. If you're not a diehard KD or LeBron fan, like I'm not a diehard Chris Paul fan. I'm ready for kind of like, I'm watching a lot more basketball than I was now, thanks to some of these younger, the Zions and the Lukas and the Trays and some of these newer, exciting rookies coming into the league. Even LaMelo. Honestly, I thought like he was just completely overrated. When he came into the league, I'm like, okay, it's LaMelo. But then watching him last year, I was like, man, the guy can pass. He's exciting to watch. So I think that I'm just ready for kind of that younger group to take over. I'm ready for it. I don't need to see another LeBron championship. I'm okay not seeing another Steph Curry championship or KD. I'm ready for the new guys. Oh, okay. Bradley Heston says free NBA preview on DirecTV this week. If you guys don't have access to it, in case you need it, it is there on DirecTV. Luka's mom does all of his autos. So there was speculation. I think we had talked about it last week that Luka was signing autos recently, and he was signing them that Lulu. And so there's people that are like, okay, well, that solves it. See, he does sign his own autographs. See, that Lulu is legit. Now, was his mom signing that, and he got caught wind of it, and now he's signing it the same way? Who knows? Obviously, like we'll never know unless they come out and say like yes, or maybe it was Aunt Sharon or somebody that we don't even, not even on our radar, was signing those. I have no idea. I always have my mom sign my autographs, so I wouldn't blame him one bit. Where was FD's question? Where does Russell Westbrook rank all time as a point guard? Oh man, I'm definitely not the guy to ask about. I'm not a basketball expert, but jump in there in the chat if you have any opinions on this one. What about John Stockton? John Stockton, I would say, would John Stockton be top 10? Maybe not. He's probably top 10 point guard. Throw in your top point guards. Throw them in there. Is LeBron James now considered a point guard? Since he's been bringing the ball up for a while now. Yeah, exactly. Perfected my mom's autograph in high school. Just saying, right? Signing report cards, right? Exactly. Yeah, good to see FD in the house, man. And FD, I've been watching. I watch a lot of your stuff. I love kind of the angle that you've taken too. He does a lot of vlog stuff. If you have not been to Rolling with FD is the YouTube channel, excellent sports card channel, but it also does sports too, like really smart sports mind, FD. So check his channel out as well. It's really, really good. Yeah, most assists. That's right. That's Stockton. Oh, question for you guys. This is actually, so one thing I noticed, I'm trying to figure out what type of content you all are looking for, that maybe something that you see that you like that you don't see enough of. Like you'll watch someone's video and you're like, man, I wish there was more channels doing that. I would like to hear from you all in the chat. If there's any ideas that you may have, just throw them out there. If there's things that you like to see or things that you don't like to see, I don't mind that. I don't want to trash other channels, obviously. So don't put anything like that in there. But if there's things that you like to see or just videos that you feel like are tired, like a lot of my stuff, I talk a lot of like newsy stuff, just idea stuff, big picture stuff, but maybe that gets old after a while. I've tried the vlog stuff. I've done some of that, but I don't travel around to all the shows. So I don't have, I do like little vlog things here and there, but like my friend Ryan at Breakout Cards, he's at a show like every weekend. So he's kind of got that action going on and it's cool to watch. But outside of that, anything else that you would like to see that maybe you're not seeing? The charts and graphs stuff, we do some of that too. I know Neo does a lot of the charts and graphs stuff. Let's, throw it out there. If there's anything that you would like to see, I wouldn't mind taking some suggestions. I'll take notes too. Absolutely. What was this? Collectors content on collectors PC. So are you talking about like my own PC cards? I've done some videos like that. And I try to mix those in as well, kind of pick up videos of mail day type videos. Is that what you mean, Bradley, with the PCs? Open some wax. Man, I can't afford any wax nowadays. I can't afford any of it unless I'm going to buy, like, I guess, retail stuff on a resale, which that could be an idea. The thing that's bad though is, like, when I think about buying wax, I feel like I should just sit on it. If it's like, if I'm buying certain wax, like, man, I should probably not open this. I should probably just sit on it. So I'm not one of those that, like, really has to open wax. Yes, I do love to open packs, but it's not like my thing where I'm like, I'm big into opening the packs or doing breaks or any of that stuff. Mike's looking for a review of IG models and ranking them. It's an idea. It's an idea. I'll talk to Kim about that. Let me run that by Kim. More Brad jokes and cupcake diet chat. All right. Fair. Yeah. You know what? Actually, I thought about doing Brad parody videos, where it's like Brad comes out with a video and then I basically have like a reaction, make fun of type video in like a fun way. Look, like, we're buddies. We don't take each other seriously, so we can do that with each other. Not everybody can do that. I mean, some people get really fired up about, the reaction stuff or whatever. I don't, like, doesn't bother me at all. I think that it's funny. But I mean, if you think that the parody videos might be kind of funny, I'll definitely do that. I'll do like reaction to Brad's and what I don't, the stuff that I think is totally ridiculous that he's talking about or whatever. Open to it. Let me know. Oh, other subscribers submitting their PC. Okay. So I would talk okay. So you're saying, like, I would talk about other people's PC items. Yeah. If that's what you're talking about, Brad, I am all over that. Love that. Yeah. And actually, if you have, so on that note, email me at thepersonalfinancedad@gmail.com. If you do have kind of PC things you would like me to share on the channel, that sounds great. Or other ideas too. So it doesn't get lost in the chat here. Email me, thepersonalfinancedad@gmail.com. Any sort of ideas that you have, I am open to them. I am wide open. Yeah, Chris has got great stories. I've had Chris on this show a couple of times. Another one of my hobby friends, really, really great guy, Corey. Just really down to earth, funny guy. And yeah, he's got such great stories. Unfortunately, I don't have 20, 30 years of the buying, kind of those buying stories that he's got, because he's been in it for a long time. He's got some really, really good stuff. Pack battles, kind of like Sports Card Investor does. Brad definitely needs an apple pie to the face from the finance poppy. Okay, well, fair enough. Maybe we just do, maybe it's comedy videos from here on out. That's all we're going to do. No. Here, real stuff on PSA when there is a grading company comparison, like how bad they really are at grading. Yeah, there is. I mean, the thing is that I don't know if it's that they're that bad or if just all the other companies are the same, meaning that, like, they're all just as good as one another, because that's a lot of the reason why I talk about why I buy like SGC cases, especially 10s, is because I don't feel that SGC is a worse grading company than PSA as far as the actual grade of the card. Now, the one thing that I will say, though, is PSA's got that guarantee. They've got the guarantee of, if they misgrade a card, if it's fake, if they, whatever, they will pay out for it. And I've looked at the kind of that fine print at BGS and SGC, and I'm not seeing the same guarantee there. I'm not seeing that, and I could be missing it. So as far as the grading goes, I'll buy any of those slabs. CSG, BGS, PSA, BGS. Did I already say that one? CS. I missed one. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. The kind of the big four. I will buy any of those. But where it comes down to, I think maybe some differentiation is that guarantee. That guarantee that PSA offers. I don't think the SGC offers that. Meaning that if you find a fake card in an SGC case, and correct me if I'm wrong, I do not think, and this goes for BGS as well, I don't believe that they are, liable for that misgrade or, that they pay out. Again, could be wrong on that. It's just when I was looking at the website and kind of looking at the, that fine print, I just didn't see anything that looked the same. I think that actually CSG has a pretty strong guarantee. That was one thing that they had talked about when they first started. was there. They've got the best guarantee in the industry as far as that stuff goes. But again, like that's still like to me, there's nuance to that. So if there's something I'm missing, let me know. But yeah. So that's where I think PSA might have an edge there is the guarantee and just kind of the history of paying out. You and Brad should live stream a Saints Bucks game. Obviously not streaming. Yeah, we can't stream the actual game on YouTube, but yeah, that would actually be kind of funny. The only thing that stinks is okay. Well, the Bucks play the Saints on Halloween, and so I've got way too much going on Halloween coming up here in the next 10 days. To be able to do it then, but maybe that next one, maybe that next game that they play, we could do that. That would actually be kind of funny. Yeah, we'll see if we can do something like that. Yeah, well, let me know because I thought that, and maybe I read it wrong. Again, I was trying to find kind of fine print with SGC, and it could be very well that they've got the same sort of deal as PSA. And if they do, let me know that in the comments because that was kind of something where I was like, okay, well, maybe I should wait for PSA. But again, I'm still buying SGC stuff. I love their stuff. All right, where was the other one? Yeah, the Saints Bucks game would be a fun one to do for sure. Graded comics. Yeah, that'd be kind of fun. Yeah, I've got some interesting stuff. I was looking at I don't want to give it away because well, all I'll say is actually I'll give a hint on the graded comics side. So, hold on, let me grab water. As you may have seen, there is a new trailer for a movie. It's DC Comics, and it was actually pretty awesome. I was impressed by it. I actually thought that the trailer for this movie, I thought this movie was going to be lame when I first heard about it because they've just made so many of them. And the trailer was awesome. That just came out. And so there's been so much emphasis and focus on Marvel that I've been actually looking more at like Silver Age, Golden Age, DC stuff, so I'll just say it, Batman stuff, Batman, some Superman stuff, but like Golden Age. So some of the really old stuff. So yeah, for graded comics, I haven't bought a lot recently, but I do have a lot of graded comics. So yeah, maybe I'll do one. Maybe I'll do an episode where I just kind of roll through kind of a graded comic book PC. That would actually be pretty fun. Yeah, I've got a full range of kind of Silver Age, Bronze Age, and I don't have a lot of that brand newer stuff, but it's mainly just kind of Silver Age and Golden Age stuff. But it's fun. I like that. Marvel PMGs, Charles, you were all over that. Charles was way ahead of Marvel PMGs. Are you selling, Charles? Well, you don't have to say, but if you want to say, are you selling? Are you holding, or what? Because I think that you're right. I think they've been going bonkers. I haven't been like watching, a lot of the prices, but I've heard that there's been some movement. That's cool, AJ. Yeah, some of those vintage games. Yeah, I wonder if there's any original NES stuff, over there, like Mario, cases, but like the Japanese versions. That'd be interesting. Yeah, I need to have Neo on. That would be fun. Just talk cards and comics because we're similar in that. We're both into those, and Flippin' Steve as well. Steve is also into comics as well. Yeah, I like the history, especially when you look at some of that golden age stuff. And it's surprising how inexpensive some of that stuff is. Because I mean, we're going back to some of it's 1930s, like pre-war comics for like Superman, and I'm not saying that they're giving them away, but they're not as much as I thought they would be, a lot of them. So anyway, but I've been kind of perusing that world as well. That's been part of it. Yeah, you might be like Flippin' Steve and Flippin' Charles. You'll be Flippin' Charles, have your own deal. Yeah, you were in so early on that stuff. You're probably doing pretty good on the Marvel PMGs, I would think. Did anybody buy up Jordan Poole rookie cards leading up to kind of the Warriors game, and or did you go buy them after he had a good game? I'm curious there. Did anyone react to any of the basketball that's been going on? I hope not. I hope that no one has reacted and bought anything based off of what happened over the last 24 hours, because usually we all know kind of like you get NBA season starts, there's kind of like excitement, and then it like comes back down a week or two later. A lot of times you can find that stuff again. Me and Brad to pick 5 cards each with the same amount of fake money, see whose cards increase the most over the course of a season. That's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Kind of do like a mock, kind of a competition. Brad will pick like, Mike Tyson holding the pigeon cards, the Kobe Bryant Crusade cards. It just so happened that he picked like a bunch of stuff that did really well. Good for him. He did. He picked a lot of like oddball things that just kind of went bonkers last year. It's funny. PSA, BGS, SGC are all the same thing. BGS grades the toughest, followed by SGC, and then PSA. PSA also does not have an elite label like the others. Yeah, the PSA label, it doesn't wow you. It doesn't necessarily, doesn't knock your socks off, that PSA label, for sure. But I guess some people would kind of like the clean look of it. I don't know. But I think it's interesting, though, like people think that, PSA is just kind of like it's always going to be number one forever. And it's just not, it's not necessarily the case. All of these grading companies are, they've got history, they're reputable, so it'll be interesting to see how that kind of goes. But not that, look, I own a lot of PSA slabs, so nothing against PSA, obviously. But I just think it's funny when people pay massive premiums, for a PSA 10 when, it's just mind boggling that an SGC 10 can be so much lower, or BGS 9.5 for that matter. It's odd, but that's it. That's people like what they like and they're comfortable with what they're comfortable with. So that's fine. Yeah. People buying pool as well as some of the others. Yeah. I figured that. Oh, you're not a fan of the BGS slab. It looks like office stationery. That's fair enough. I guess I just kind of like the thickness of it. I like the fact that it doesn't feel like it's going to like crumble in my hand. Not saying that like PSA or SGC feel that way, but if I dropped it on the ground, it wouldn't be, the end of the world. Hopefully. Yeah, and there's always going to be that stigma with the PSA 9 and the PSA 10, and then what else? There's no 9.5 and there's no black label or whatever. You're right. So that is kind of tricky. What is this? Any thoughts on 2021 Donruss, Mac Jones, Trevor Lawrence, PSA 10 starting to sell for $400, $800 in the last few days? Is that up from where they were? And now for Nick, for me, and anyone that watched my channel knows that I don't typically buy new players, rookies, but especially not new products. So when new product comes out, it's usually like a big rush to get those PSAs, PSA 10s out to market, and then they sell high and then they come down. That's kind of what we've seen. It's that excitement, and then it drops back down. So I think for me, and this is just me, obviously buy what you want. But for me, I would much rather wait until like next offseason and then see what Mac Jones cards, Trevor Lawrence cards are doing. Neither one of those teams, those players' teams are going to be in the playoffs, I don't think. The Patriots might be, the Jags won't be. So for me, I'm kind of wondering, like, if you really like Trevor Lawrence, maybe around like playoff football time, before the preseason or before the offseason, that might be a time to look at Lawrence because he's not playing. No one's paying any attention to him. Again, it'll also depend too on what are the releases, the set releases, like when's Prism coming out, when's Optic coming out, and all the other stuff. But for the rookies, they're always going to be there. There's probably, honestly, like I was watching that SCI video where there's more than 700 Justin Herbert rookie cards in Market Movers, in the Market Movers data tool. Trevor Lawrence is going to have just as many, and let's, even if we're being conservative, 500 plus rookie cards for Trevor Lawrence. There will be options. There will be options out there if you are looking for that stuff, down the line. Don't think that you've got to get that now at that price, or you'll never see it again at that price. That just doesn't seem to happen, So again, maybe they'll be the outlier, but I'm going to wait, on those guys. Kyler Murray MVP. Now you're in Arizona, Brian, so you are a little bit biased, I would say. Kyler Murray has had a good start to the season. The Cardinals look legit, but we will see. It's a long season. It's even longer of a season now. It's 17 games before we even get into the playoffs. So much can happen. But yeah, Kyler Murray looks like the real deal. He's exciting. He's exciting to watch. All right, guys, we are coming up on the 1 hour mark. I'll probably wrap it up. My older kids are waiting on me to watch the rest of Squid Games. So we're probably going to go back to Squid Games here in a few minutes, but I definitely wanted to come on and make sure to see you guys and say hello. Lamar Jackson is looking really legit. And I'll be honest with you, I thought that Lamar Jackson was not going to show up this season. I was like, man, Lamar Jackson is, I'm not sure about him. I don't think that he can throw. I know he's a running quarterback. Man, he has looked really, really good. So of course, Mike, yeah, you're not biased at all. You're not biased at all. Although it's kind of hard to argue against Tom Brady ever at any point. So I totally get it. I totally get it. Yeah, trick or treat for the Saints on Halloween. Yeah, we'll see. We will see. I'm sure we'll play the Bucks tough. I'm going to guess that we split with the Bucks. I think that we'll win one. They'll win one. But we'll see. Yeah, they're obviously they're stacked. So we'll have to see what happens. We'll have to see too when Gronk is coming back. Is Gronk going to be back for Halloween or is he out? I don't remember if he's out for an extended period. I mean, he had broken ribs, but it's Gronk and he's played through crazy stuff. So we'll see. All right, guys, everybody have an amazing night. Thank you very much for joining me here. I appreciate it. Stay healthy, stay awesome, and I will see you later. Thanks again. We'll see you next week.